Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Gilboy. I'm the chair of the board of directors at St. Joseph's High School. The purpose of this video is to explain an opportunity to support St. Joseph's High School through something we call the Educational Improvement Tax Credit Program. Over the past few years, we've been starting to share this opportunity with individuals in the St. Joseph's High School community. Two families that participate are with us today. Now, before I introduce them, let me first introduce Mitch Farrell. He's a CPA and alumnus of St. Joseph's High School, and he's going to provide some information on details of the program. Mitch, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks very much, Jim. Hello, everybody. My name's Mitch Farrell, and the opportunity I'm going to be speaking about is a fantastic way to support St. Joseph High School. So we have been participating with an entity called the Central Pennsylvania Scholarship Fund. You can check out their website, pennsylvaniaeitc.org. The Central PA Scholarship Fund is a fantastic resource for us to help individuals to make a financial contribution to St. Joseph High School and then recover a significant portion of their cost through a tax credit. The tax credit I'm referring to is called the Educational Improvement Tax Credit, or the EITC. EITC was approved in the state of Pennsylvania in 2001, and it was done to incentivize supporting private education within the state. Now, when I talk to people about the EITC, the two common questions they ask are, how do I get involved, right? How can I qualify for this program? And then the second question that they always have is, how does the tax credit work? How is it going to happen through the paperwork when it comes time for me to file my tax return? How do I know I'm going to get the money back? Questions like that. So the first question has a very simple answer. The $115,000 is the magic number. If you or you and your spouse combined make $115,000 in taxable income, you will qualify for this program. The second requirement is that you agree to a 2-year commitment. You would have to participate in the program for 2 consecutive years. Now, technically, you could participate for just 1 year, but it's not as advantageous for tax planning, and it doesn't benefit the school as much. So I'm just going to focus on this main requirement for now. So that's how do I get involved? How does the tax credit work? I have an example for you. So let's stick with the $115,000 in taxable income. I would recommend that you maximize on your ability to support the school and save on your taxes. Multiply your taxable income by 3%. That means 3% of $115,000, you'll be giving a contribution of $3,500. Now, if you make more than $115,000, you can maximize at 3% of however much you make. That minimum payment is $3,500. You'll make that payment by July 1st. Within a few days, the money is transferred from the Central PA Scholarship Fund to the school of your choice, in this case, St. Joseph High School. Now, I will add that if you are interested in supporting more than one school, perhaps you have children in grade school and high school or grandchildren in multiple schools throughout the state, you can divide your payment among multiple schools as long as they're all registered with the Central PA Scholarship Fund. Of course, I am very hopeful that at least a portion of your payment is going to support St. Joseph High School. Well, that's all you have to do for this year in 2020. The second half of your work comes when you file your tax return. The state of Pennsylvania allows you to take 90% of your contribution as a tax credit. In this example, that means you have a tax credit of $3,200. So when it comes time to file your taxes, here's how it will look. On your Form PA-40, you have $115,000 of taxable income. The state tax rate is 3.07%. That means you have a tax liability before credit of $3,530. But you do have a credit. You have the Educational Improvement Tax Credit for $3,200. That means that your liability to the state is only $330. So to recap, St. Joseph High School receives $3,500 and the state of Pennsylvania collects $330 in taxes. You might say, I just spent $3,830. Well, I would ask you to think about it this way. You are going to spend $3,500 no matter what. That's your tax liability. If you don't participate in this program, you're still going to pay that money. We are asking you to consider paying $330. If you are willing to make this minor additional contribution, St. Joseph High School will receive $3,500. And that, in my opinion, is by far the most effective way that you can support St. Joseph High School financially. Now, what is that money going to be used for? This is from the Pennsylvania Department of Revenue's website. It states that the money can only be used to reduce the cost of tuition for students that otherwise may not be able to afford the education. So we're talking about tuition, fees, uniforms, textbooks. This money is not going to be used to help the basketball team get new basketballs or to buy a new prop for the musical. This money is only used to help somebody who otherwise would not afford St. Joseph High School education. I thank you for paying attention to this video. I am very excited to hear from some of you. Please reach out to me if you have any questions, if you're interested and would like to know more about the program. I do this for a living. I am a CPA, and I have helped several people to take advantage of this tax credit before. So I hope to hear from you. And with that, I will turn it back over to Jim. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks for that, Mitch. At this time, we're going to introduce a few people who've been involved in this program over the past few years. Now, my wife and I have participated in this program, but today we're going to introduce you to some of our other supporters here at the school. So first, let me introduce Rosen Granieri and Dave Macpherson to speak about why they chose to get involved and also to discuss how the process worked in signing up for this program.
Thank you, Jim, and thank you everyone for the opportunity to speak with you. As Jim said, I'm Rosen Granieri, and sitting next to me is my husband, Dave Macpherson. And together we're going to talk a little bit about why we decided to get involved in the EITC and a little bit about how the mechanics worked for us. I decided to get involved in the EITC for two very important reasons. First of all, I feel very strongly about the value of Catholic education. I believe it provides great academic training for sure, but also importantly, especially in today's world, it does two other very essential things for our youth. It strengthens moral character, and it deepens our Catholic faith. And St. Joseph High School is a phenomenal example of this type of school, as it upholds its principles of sanctity, justice, honor, and scholarship. The second is more personal. I'm a product of Catholic education. I went to a Catholic grade school and to a Catholic high school in Western New York. But 2 years ago, my high school closed due to financial difficulties and declining enrollment. And so students in my Western New York community no longer have easy access to a Catholic high school education. And for me, this is incredibly sad. And this is something also I would not want to see happen in southwestern Pennsylvania. And so I wanted to do my part in supporting St. Joseph High School, not just by words, but by actions, including helping to do my part in helping to maintain its financial stability. I have to admit I wasn't that involved in the mechanics of this application process. And so I'd like to turn it over for a few minutes to my husband, Dave.
Thanks, Roseanne. I think in sum, the mechanics of getting through this process were quite easy. As you might imagine, you have questions when you're thinking about doing something like this. You're spending some money in a way you haven't spent it before. But I was able to pose the questions I had to Mitch and got prompt responses, which were quite clear and reassuring. And at that point, we were sent a form to fill out. It was a one-page form, had basic demographics and absolutely nothing more. I completed it. We wrote the check and mailed it. And we're still, this year is an unusual tax year in terms of the deadline, so we're not quite through the whole process. But I've been pleased so far, and I think felt quite supported through the process. So all in all, mechanically, it was a very easy thing.
Roseanne and David, thank you for supporting the school. We're really happy that you're involved, and thanks for explaining your involvement in the program on our video today. Now we're going to go to a veteran of the program who's been involved for a few years. Maybe he can introduce himself, explain why he chose to participate, and also touch on repeating the process in the future years. So Joe McNeal, I'll let you begin.
Thanks for that, Jim. With my wife, Jennifer, we'd just like to say we really love this program. It amplifies our ability to support the school. My wife is a St. Joseph High School graduate, and with the ongoing sense of community and fellowship we continue to feel, it's so wonderful. And we're really glad to be able to pay it forward so a new generation of students can experience the same benefits. I teach at a local university, and I see firsthand the tremendous advantages of a great high school education. My wife has an undergraduate degree in math and a graduate degree in technology, both from top schools, and she's proud to say that it was her St. Joseph High School experience that gave her both the academic foundation and the courage to succeed in male-dominated fields of study. As far as the paperwork goes, I agree, it really isn't that difficult. As St. Joseph High School has had more and more participants, they've really nailed down this process. Also, speaking from the perspective of someone who has participated for multiple years, the process to renew is very simple. After the initial paperwork is in, it's all very easy. Thanks.
Well, thank both of you for being involved in our program and in this video today. As chair of the board of directors, I'd like to emphasize that this is an important time to support St. Joseph High School. During this pandemic, we know it's been more challenging to afford education for the St. Joseph's High School community. And this program will really help students with that cost of tuition that need the help. Also, I know it may be difficult to have extra cash to donate to the school during all this. So this might be a new way to consider supporting St. Joseph's High School without too much additional out-of-pocket costs. I really appreciate you taking the time to view this video and considering this opportunity. Please remember all the information you need is in the email you received, and we hope to hear from you shortly. Thank you very much.